Hi, my name is Heather Feather. I'm the owner of Rare Bird Medicine. Today I wanted to talk about being bathed in beauty. Once again, we are talking about content, not form. So I'm not actually talking about gathering flowers and in Epsom salts and taking a bath, although that form can offer the content of literally feeling bathed in beauty. So there will be some form in this conversation, but I'm really kind of talking here about content. What does it mean to be bathed with the content of beauty? To me, beauty is something lovely to behold, something lovely to witness. I got in the mail today, just threw it right on, my new God Loves Ugly shirt by Atmosphere. I thought it a very appropriate shirt for today's topic. And that is one of my all-time favorite album titles. The God Loves Ugly shirt I bought when I went to go see Dilated Peoples in Atmosphere back in 1942. Just kidding. But back when I lived in California, it's just a paint shirt now. It has so many holes. I've just overworn that shirt. But I love that title, God Loves Ugly, because there's so much that the two-legged holds about the self as ugly and as worthy of judgment, worthy of recrimination, worthy of attack. And attack and recrimination and vengeance and violence towards the self in the way one thinks, in the content of one's consciousness, and in the content of one's life, to me is not a beautiful, I'm not awe-inspired as I watch myself beat myself up or watch someone else hold themselves small. I don't hold those as experiences of being bathed in beauty. I hold them as experiences of being bathed in falsehood, taking a falsehood bath, because you're the light of stardust. You know, you're made out of stardust. So you're made from that which exudes luminescent light, and you to me very much have a light body. Part of the shamanic path is actually working to walk in multiple realms. So I would say it's a little different for each person how it is that we need to be bathed in beauty. So I try to always apply as I'm adjusting something with myself and I'm taking an identification I used to have, and I try to say historically. So historically, Heather used to be very perfectionistic. Heather is learning how to have things be in excellence. I would say I'm probably at the stage of adolescence. I've moved through the infancy of it. I'm in adolescence, eager to get to adulthood and wisdom with allowing myself to do things in excellence, but not perfectly, not getting it perfectly right, and allowing myself to learn is part of stepping away from perfectionism and being kind to myself, bathing myself with acknowledgement of all that I do, and bathing myself in beautiful words that I want to be imbued with is one of the ways I'm moving away from that historical identification of perfectionism. Now, some people don't have that. They feel like they need to get some of that perfectionistic identification. They bathe themselves in the ugliness of calling themselves lazy. A lot of two-leggeds love that one. They love that. Oh, I'm gonna call myself lazy and beat myself internally, flog myself with the term lazy on the regs. Every beast, every creature needs to rest, likes to rest, requires rest. If you're not somebody who has a lot of fire, astrologically speaking, matrix-wise, you might not have the same drive as others that you experience in your life. So why force yourself to have something that is not your innate nature? Can we soften? Can we soften? So can we soften for the perfectionist tendencies that a two-legged could hold? And if you feel like, I don't have those perfectionistic tendencies, though, I'm a hoarder and my house is a mess and I feel so disorganized and I just feel, Einstein famously said something about this, something along the lines, I'm not going to quote it because I didn't look it up. What am I doing? I love Einstein. He said, if your outer environment is a reflection of all that your mind and your consciousness holds, what then is an empty desk indicative of? And he said this because his areas were a hot mess. So cleanliness is next to godliness, or organization, was not Einstein's forte. And I would imagine his mind was very busy with deep thoughts from what I've learned about him, and equations, and all that inner processing didn't actually, we only get so much time. So it's not actually going to allocate a lot of time for him to also, like, he could do what I do and clean a desk 7 times a day. But then how much time do you have to sit and ruminate on how time works, or, space and time and how they work together, and what is their model, and is it viable that space bends, or, these deep questions that his mind was grappling with. So if you have a busy house, you may have a busy mind, and it may be a sign of intellect. It's not necessarily it doesn't mean you don't have any of that. If you have a tidy house, it may mean that you seek more emptiness in the vessel, or more openness, or more clarity of whateverness to come out. If your outer environment reflects that emptiness and that spaciousness. But perhaps you're not being beautiful with yourself, or not bathing yourself in beauty around the concept of having a messy house or being disorganized. Okay. Instead of spending your lifetime beating yourself up for that, step 1, is there anything you'd like to donate? Any project stuff, any objects, any resources? You probably have advanced understandings and resources if you're a hoarder, or somebody that, can get a lot of objects. Are there any that you can give away and service humanity? Any things you've held on to for 2 years thinking one day I'll get to that project? Can you just give it away and just know that life is abundant enough to bring resources back to you? To give yourself some space, to give yourself some room. Can you pick one room in your house and make it a sacred temple, and cleanse it and clear it so that it feels like a sacred temple, and you enjoy going in there, and it serves as motivation and inspiration for future rooms to become temples that you physically move through? What I'm talking about is softening in the way, whether we're being this side of the coin or that side of the coin, softening in the way, bathing ourselves in beauty each day around these topics in which we would attack the self. So perfectionism, the perfectionist, I as a perfectionist historically would often just be like, it motivates me though. It causes me, that's how I stay driven. That's how I get stuff done. I'm so productive because I'm so perfectionistic. And that's a lie. That's a lie my ego tells me. I'm made of energy. Fundamentally, energy moves. Actually, every time we get into concepts of dis-ease, or concepts of like, my shoulder hurts because I did the thing, we're just telling ourselves that energy doesn't move. But energy is always in a state of movement, and we've just had a false association with what energy does. Energy moves. It's not like when our body is ill or sore, or when our, whatever's going on. It's not like all the subatomic particles in that area are just like, I guess take a nap. Energy's always moving. It has perfect flow. It's the mind that's crystallized the consciousness of what's available in that area of your body that you say, oh, like there's this here. So because energy naturally moves and flows forward, where are my words? There they are. Because it naturally moves and flows forward, you're going to move forward. You're going to have energy that moves forward in a lifetime, period, in a discussion. So we have to tell our ego, no, perfectionistic self, that's not actually what motivates me. The fact that I'm comprised of energy motivates me. Thank you for considering that as an option for the answer there, but that's not the answer. And I'm going to be motivated, but I don't have to beat myself up in order to move forward, because it makes my life feel ugly to constantly feel like I'm in a state of pressure. And we can do that too with, not being perfectionistic, and call ourselves lazy and beat ourselves up and just talk about what a mess our lives are. We can do it with our bodies. Are you bathing your body in beauty? Bodies come in many shapes and sizes, and there are so many ways for a body to look. Frankly, I think they're all beautiful. I think all bodies are beautiful. What a beautiful grace that this flesh costume space can inhabit so many sacred forms. just like the number of flowers and number of animals, such diversity in the way our sacred bodies express. But even in my own vessel, I've always had a really high metabolism, and as life stagnates more as we stay home, that's a lot of people's bodies have shifted in this time. And so my body's shifted. I've gained, 20 pounds maybe since COVID hit in March. And I've really worked to stay healthy. But there's just moments where all of the emotional process we're doing about the change in our paradigm can cause stressors, and some people stress eat and all of that. So do I need to attack my body? My beautiful sacred temple that's housing my consciousness, that's housing my sacred, sweet, sweet, delicious, loving heart? Is that helping? What if my body is beautiful, whatever shape it's in? Here's a concept. What if my body is beautiful no matter what? What if God loves the ugly that I've decided to call the form down here ugly? Spirit loves it. I'm just the one attacking it. I'm the one separating. I'm the one beating myself up for whatever it is. So when I'm talking about being bathed in beauty, I'm talking about, is your content around form about kindness, about loving kindness with the self, loving kindness with others, compassion with the self, compassion with others? Are you bathing the self in beauty and caring for yourself and giving yourself attention? And yes, I mean that in the form concept of are you putting lotion on if your skin feels dry and addressing that? Are you meeting your needs and having a snack and eating food and all of this that we've discussed before? I'm also talking about giving yourself attention. A lot of two-leggeds, I think that we would say, oh, that's an extrovert, but I don't think they're an extrovert. I think what it is they're not giving themselves any attention. And so they're constantly talking, trying to get someone to give them attention that they refuse to give the self. And so that is an exhausting process, because if you're not giving yourself attention and you constantly want me to fill in the attention that you're not giving to yourself, then you're not going to be receptive, because you're grabbing at my attention to get something that you refuse to give to yourself. So that's not going to bathe your life in beauty, because you'll find as you grab for people's attention, they tend to retreat, because we all feel like our attention is being pulled farther and farther apart, which is true. People used to sit on the stoop and chit chat with the neighbors. We didn't have text messages, billboards, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, television, freaking the internet, and endlessly search on. We were inundated with information in the information misinformation age as we move towards the age of vulnerability, and we're just inundated with it. So bearing that in mind, can I bathe myself in the beauty of being allowed to rest? Can I bathe myself in the beauty of not having to fill my attention with something? Can I bathe myself in the beauty of giving myself my own attention? It's important, if you are very grabbing for someone to listen to your story, to slow down and go, wait a minute, am I listening to my stories? Am I listening to myself? Why am I so desperate to get other people's attention? Am I paying attention to myself? Am I spending time with me? And am I willingly sharing my gifts? So many two-leggeds will stop themselves before they even start to walk on a path. They'll be walking along this path, and they'll see this alternate path of living the life of my dreams and fulfilling my life's purpose. And in order to get on that path, they have to not immediately tap on the brakes once they get on the path. But what they'll do is they'll be like, I can't start a vlog or a blog. Who wants to listen to me? I can't write a book. Nobody needs to hear what I have to say. Who cares about my life? I can't tell you how many two-leggeds have told me that. I mean, there's plenty of healers and astrologers. I don't need to become that. Or, it's just so easy to just stop oneself before one begins. Can you bathe yourself in the beauty of, it doesn't matter what anyone else has done. I am going to allow myself to start a blog or a vlog, or to start making movies, or to start being an author, or to start being a poet, or to start being a writer, because I'm going to bathe myself in the beauty of the freedom of my expression. The freedom of my expression socially, eliminating social pressure to look socially correct, bathe myself in the freedom of expressing my gifts, and bathe myself in the freedom of beauty of who I be. Blessed be.